BBC News at midday. Ukraine has accused Russia of deliberately targeting civilians celebrating New Year after a wave of missile strikes hit the capital Kyiv. Ukraine's armed forces say they've shot down 45 Iranian-made drones fired by Russia since New Year's Eve. The head of the police in the Kyiv region published a photo of what he said was a fragment of one of the drones with a message written in Russian saying Happy New Year. However, the Ukrainian political analyst Mykola Davydiuk says people there remain defiant.
I think that he showed that he don't know what to do and how to break Ukraine. And at the same time, I saw in the Kyiv streets yesterday night the people who are walking and smiling, who are in a good mood. So I think the mood is really strong and people are ready to win.
The British prosecutor who led the case against the former Serbian leader Slobodan Milosevic has called for President Putin to be tried for war crimes this year because of Russia's actions in Ukraine. Sir Geoffrey Nice, who's currently leading inquiries into China and its treatment of the Uyghur minority, said there was a possibility the International Criminal Court was reluctant to indict the Russian leader because he could be exempt under the terms of a potential peace deal. Speaking on Broadcasting House on Radio 4, Sir Geoffrey said it was surprising that people in authority weren't condemning Mr Putin.
It couldn't be clearer. The strangest thing is that politicians and lawyers don't seem to be speaking out saying it for what it is. It is crimes against humanity because civilian targets should never be bombed or otherwise attacked, and there can be no doubt about the chain of command leading directly to Putin.
Pope Francis has addressed worshippers in St Peter's Square in Rome a day after the death of Benedict XVI. His body will lie in state at St Peter's Basilica from tomorrow until his funeral on Thursday. During a New Year's Day service at the Vatican, the Pope referred to what he called his beloved predecessor.
Today
we entrust the beloved Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI to the Most Holy Mother, the Virgin Mary, to accompany him in his passage from this world to God.
The President of Colombia has announced a ceasefire with several armed groups. In 6 decades of violence, hundreds of thousands of Colombians have lost their lives. The Taliban government in Afghanistan say there's been an explosion at the entrance gate of the military airport in the capital, Kabul. Reports say at least 10 people have been killed and several injured. Here's our South Asia editor, Anbarasan Ethirajan.
Residents said they heard a loud explosion near the entrance to the military airfield in the Afghan capital this morning. Pictures showed smoke billowing out after the blast. The area has been sealed off by Taliban forces. The nature and target of the explosion is not immediately clear. Since the Taliban took over in August 2021, the Islamic State militant group has carried out several attacks targeting key installations, posing a challenge to the Taliban authorities. 5 Chinese nationals were injured when a group of gunmen stormed a hotel popular with Chinese business people in Kabul last month.
People around the world have been seeing in the new year with the first large-scale celebration since the pandemic. In London, thousands gathered on the banks of the Thames for the traditional firework display. A New Year's Day parade is just getting underway in central London. Marching bands, Latin dancers and cheerleaders are taking part. Bob Bone has been organising the event since it began more than 30 years ago.
87 was our first year, and it was a much smaller parade then, but that made a huge difference from 86. 86 it was dead in the centre of town. 87 it started to come alive, and then I think the big transition was about 2 years later when the great British public got to understand what we were trying to do, and they came out in their droves, and the rest is history. It's been fantastic since then.
BBC News.
BBC Radio 4. Now, how's your head today? Some of us may have overindulged ourselves last night, but what does a hangover do to our bodies and minds, and what are the best cures? Is there a replacement to alcohol that will create a pleasant effect without unpleasant effects the next day? Jago Wise will assemble experts and celebrities to uncover the science, history and culture of hangovers in the food programme at 12:30. But first, to sharpen our senses ahead of Sunday lunch.
Welcome to Just a Minute. Hello, Sue Perkins here, and as the minute waltz fades away, what a joy to welcome you to Just a Minute. Now time to introduce you, of course, the 4 fabulous, talented people who are playing the game this week. They are Paul Merton, Jennifer Saunders, Julian Clary and Anna Maxwell Martin. Please whoop and cheer for all of them. see no reason to change the rules, and so we asked them to speak for 60 seconds on a topic I give them without hesitation, repetition or deviation. So let's see how we get along with that. Now, Paul.
Yes.
We're going to start with you, if we may. And your subject is very timely. Boxing Day sales. Can you speak on Boxing Day sales without hesitation, repetition or deviation for 60 seconds? And your time starts now.
I've bought a variety of different objects during the Boxing Day sales over the years. Apples, bananas, cauliflowers, dentist chairs, Enid Blyton box sets, fire savers, Charles Dickens' Great Expectations, togas, squirrels, windscreen wipers, X-ray machines, Zebedee from Magic Roundabout.
Oh, Anna.
Deviation.
From?
Listing. Just listing.
But those were things he said he'd bought.
I don't believe him.
Would you like to see my Zebedee?
It was a wonderful interjection, but on this case, I'm going to keep it with Paul, just because potentially they are things that he could have bought, although I'm going to give Paul a list warning. OK, so he's going to give him a list warning. You've got 37 seconds left, Paul, and your time starts now.
I would like to tell you more about the objects I have bought, but unfortunately there's a ban on that, so I'll
Julian.
We're buzzed.
We had objects right
did.
at the beginning before the list.
Right.
Yes, correct challenge is repetition. 33 seconds remaining. Julian, what can you tell us about Boxing Day sales? And your time starts now.
I once slept on the pavement outside Selfridges for 6 weeks prior to the Boxing Day sales. I fancied a beard trimmer, and I don't know why, because I haven't got one of those things growing on my face. Boxing Day sales are where you can pick up a bargain. Things are half price. I met a lovely woman from up north, and we spent all